Let's get into it. Soul Not For Sale podcast. We got Joe Rogan, Dillon, and Dillon is talking about Gen Z, particularly two kids who love to scream about Biden, how much they love Biden. And then he talks about what it would have been like if he had TikTok. And then he talks about how him and Joe used to have to get their political content and how there was no control and no nuance, and it was just a few people who controlled the narrative. Now, the one thing he fails to bring up is why these kids, particularly the two that he interviewed, Harry Sisson and Chris Mowry, why are they screaming about Biden all the time? Why do they love Biden all the time? And I have some information that I'm going to be showing you guys, some videos, some information, some clips on the fact that I don't think they love Biden because of his foreign policy. I think it's because of some other reasons. Now, let's get into that. CoachColin.com. I am CoachColin.com. Soul Not For Sale shirts, of course. Public Enemy #1 shirts, of course. And the Great Resist shirt, of course. Discount code is I am Coach Colin. All capital letters, all one word, one L in the name, Colin. Let's get into it.
And you're just going to try to enjoy your life.
That's like these young kids on TikTok now that scream about politics. They just yell about politics. Like, there's a whole group of young kids who yell into their phone about politics. You see them, like, there's two kids who like love Biden. And I had them on my show, and they go, we love Joe. I love Joe Biden. And
you had them on your show?
I had them on my show, and
what was that like?
the kid that what do they know about anything?
Did you get through to them at all?
No.
Was there fun?
I don't get through to
people.
You
get through to me.
I get through to you. There's a few people I get through to.
Was it fun?
They were cool kids but they're insane.
Right.
They're insane.
But did you have any good points that they had to address?
Yeah, for sure. But they don't, that level, when you were a kid, or whatever you are, they're not kids either. They're like young adults. But that level of certainty that you have about the world, right. You never see the world more clear than when you're like 20. You know at 20 why everyone's a loser,
right?
Why everyone's a winner, what's wrong and what's right. And so now we have an app where you can go on it and scream in the app and tell everybody all the things you've figured out in 10 years of summer camp or whatever. And, but what it really is you haven't lived long enough to have any of your ideas challenged in any real way.
Right. Your brain's not fully formed.
Your brain's not formed. And you want attention?
And you're in the middle of this weird culture shift where people are like getting rewarded for yelling about politics.
That's right.
On TikTok publicly, where you would normally just kind of do it with your friends like you did over the Iraq War, coked up with a cigarette.
If I had TikTok back then, oh my God. If I had a TikTok back then, I was a guy where I would go over to my friends' houses. I would hang out with their parents until like they would be working like shit little jobs. It'd be like the end of high school, beginning of college. And I would sit there with their parents. They would make martinis and we would drink gin and we'd watch The O'Reilly Factor. And we would smoke cigarettes in the backyard. And this was like, if I had TikTok at that point, it would have just been this sweaty, disheveled cokehead screaming about how Donald Rumsfeld needs our support. Because that was, I was like, you're not American if you don't. And that's it. I just think about myself. I was like, fuck, I couldn't have been more wrong. So I look at these kids who now have like the technology to broadcast every thought that they think they're having. And I'm like, you're going to look back on that and go, that was so cringe.
Right.
When I was like doing Biden youth and screaming about the importance of Biden and how great he was, even if you believe in Biden or think he's good or whatever, the way that they do it, they're going to look back on it and they're going to go, oh, I was caught up in something. Because that's what I feel. I go, I was caught up. I read a few books that I didn't understand, and I went all around Long Island screaming about the need to democratize the Middle East.
There's something about doing that on Long Island.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so classic.
It was great. And it was like, I remember being in the car with people. You want to fight him here? You want to fight him here? Yeah. Every talking point that was given to me, I completely now realize sounds ridiculous. And I look at these young people and I'm like, I'm not saying don't be passionate about things. I'm just saying like live a little.
Yeah. Also,
wait a little bit.
It's hard to realize why you're captured in like a way of thinking.
Right.
While you're in the middle of it and all your friends are in the middle of it and everybody's in the middle of it.
See, what at least back then you didn't have social media, so it's like I wasn't doing it to be famous. I was doing it because I was a lunatic. I was a genuine fucking lunatic. Now these kids go, oh, there's clout. I can make money. Right. I have followers.
Ooh, yeah.
Back then, I was like, no. I got a backyard. I got a bottle of vodka. I got a pack of cigarettes. Let's go.
But you know what's ironic?
Yeah.
if you were on TikTok and there was all these other people doing it at the same time, if TikTok existed back when you were a kid, you would still rise to the top.
Yeah, well, I like to think so.
Yeah, you would 100%.
I like to think
you would
so.
100%. Because a lot of this, people getting attention that are mediocre, it's just a lack of other content that's available.
No, I would like to think so. I would like to think that there'd be people being like, do you watch that guy?
They'd be like, he's the guy.
That fat, closeted gay cocaine addict who talks about why we need to do the Iraq War? He's good. Who knows?
You would be a Fox News consultant.
I could go to Lachlan Murdoch right now.
You would have, if
and
they
say,
made,
give me $20 million, dummy.
Imagine if Fox decided to go Wild West and they had like an online, like wild, right-wing, swear all the time, talk about whatever the fuck you want to.
Right. If I
get a lot of the young guys in.
It would, listen, if I'd be the oldest person on TikTok. If Fox News did a TikTok show with me,
oh my God,
and it was just me screaming at these kids,
yeah.
And they're all like young guys who, they all have a boy band aesthetic, and they're kind of like, they're also trying to get girls as they talk about politics.
Right.
So it's the weirdest thing. They're like, they're like looking in the camera, they're like, don't you like healthcare? Like, you have that abortion. Yeah. Which is lovely. I mean, I'm not anti-abortion, but it's so funny to see this. Everything's conflated with everything else. So it's like, they're out there trying to get pussy, trying to make money, trying to be famous, and also trying to be right. And by the way, a few of those things have to get sacrificed. The people that I've known where I'm like, God, you're right, a lot of them are not rolling in dough. Right. A lot of those journalists who are like right about stuff, or they even care about the idea that there is a right, they're not rolling in dough.
They get Substacks.
You'll read them.
They're doing better now. Like,
they're doing better now.
Profitable.
Ththey're doing better now. The Greenwalds, people like that,
Yeah.
Taibbi, absolutely. They're doing a lot better now.
And you can fucking trust them. God damn, it's hard to trust. It's hard to know what the fuck you're reading, what the motivation is behind it.
Oh,
like more than ever before. You want some more of this?
No, I'm good. Thank you, buddy.
More than ever before. I mean, so many times I'm reading things. I'm like, what's the fucking motivation behind it? What's the true story?
When I came up in the world and trying to understand the stuff, there was cable news dominated the discourse. So it was just the three networks, the big three, the papers, the Times, Journal, the Washington Post, whatever. But then it was cable news. So it was MSNBC, Fox News, CNBC to a much lesser degree, CNN even to a much lesser degree. But it was Fox and MSNBC were the ones that were really propaganda factories. Fox was the right, MSNBC was the left. And that's what you had. And that's kind of still what you have if you're a boomer, you know. But now the internet has just opened the gates of hell so that it's every idea and every permutation of every idea. So you get some really good ideas and some really bad ones. And sometimes they're all in the same package.
But don't you think you get a lot more of an understanding of what is actually going on?
Absolutely.
If you're listening to Jimmy Dore.
If you're all over the place.
If you're listening to Breaking Points.
Of course.
There's so many different
There's so
versions.
much information, it verges on too much.
It can be.
It can be.
It's almost impossible to keep up. You have a full-time job.
But I mean, it is much better than what it was when I was growing up and you were fed.
Oh, yeah.
So Bill O'Reilly would come on and feed you a narrative.
Oh, man. Tim and I aren't that far in age, and I had a different way of approaching it. I always gravitated away from TV. I was like, I'm not watching it and I'm not listening to it. And I didn't really open up politically until I had people around me I could talk to and actually have conversations with. And then podcasting came into play. And then the internet, like, it's just, I took it in like that. I took it in like I was a much like someone in their 20s, like someone today. Like, that's how I did it. It was all conversation and then online. And I never gravitated towards Fox, CNN, anything. I just stayed away from it. I just didn't want to sit in front of my TV and take that in. If I was in front of a TV, I was watching a Chappelle show. That's what I was doing. I was watching stand-up comedy, just for laughs, BET Comic View. I was watching stuff like that. Now, when it comes to what Tim was talking about, these kids who are screaming at the TV, screaming about Biden, it's a real thing here. So check this out. So this is this kid, Harry Sisson, right? Very funny. This is just like a funny tweet that went out. This is basically what people do is they take one tweet that you said and then a few, not even that long later. Wow. This is not even an hour later. Wow. Okay. Republican politicians saying we should shoot down the spy balloon don't understand the complexity of the situation. Do they think they know more than the professionals in our military? And then breaking. The Chinese spy balloon shot down. Thank you to President Biden and importantly, our terrific military. So it's just like these kids are constantly putting out stuff like this. What do we have here? So now it's very interesting what I just showed for a second. When you start seeing these kids, they're on Tim Dillon's show. They get to do things like this. This is this kid, Harry.
And on that,
okay, he's sitting down with Secretary of State Blinken, right? That's not quite what a TikToker would usually get to do, but he gets to do it. This is actually from his Twitter page. So let's just play this really quick. Interesting stuff. Gets to sit down with a lot of interesting Democrats. Here, let's listen to this.
At that point, democracy is fragile. I think we're seeing that in the United States right now. It's not something to be taken for granted or even ignored. So I'm just curious, in your view, what can average Americans do to preserve our democracy, and what is the State Department doing to promote democracy on a global stage?
Well, one of the things I don't do is really deal with our own politics. Happily, one of the best parts of this job is that I just focus on the challenges beyond our borders. But I would say generally, being engaged, participating, being informed, that's where it all starts. And making sure that you have that foundation. And then you have to everyone has to make judgments about these things, but hopefully they're informed judgments. In terms of what we're doing around the world, look, one of the most important things, and it's very challenging because we are imperfect, to say the least. We make many of our own mistakes.
Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't really care what Mr. Blinken has to say. Not that I dislike him or anything, but I'm just illustrating the point that these kids get to sit down with some pretty big people. It's very interesting. Why would they get to sit down with these type of people? Now, what I'm going to play next for you guys is Tim Dillon actually sitting with these kids and interviewing them. And he brings up something that a lot of people have brought up. And they have dispelled these rumors in the sense of they have just denied them, but there is some pretty concrete evidence. I mean, if you're willing to connect the dots, even just a touch. And people on Twitter have been doing that like crazy because these kids annoy them so much. So let's get into this.
Do it by a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's right.
But, just having fun. Gotta have
Now,
fun.
what's the deal with you? Because everybody says you're like paid by the DNC. Everybody says you're shills, right? Or a lot of people, not everybody, but there's a group of people on the internet saying that because you guys scream at your phone, you have very passionate videos about that you love Biden, who's a man of what, 70 years your senior? How old is he?
He's 80 now, I think.
He's 80. Can you move the mics closer if you're going to be that quiet? I mean, you've never been that quiet in your life.
Oh, sorry. We're okay. Loud now.
All you do is yell. And this is like, now you're being like soft-spoken and quiet and considerate. All you've done is scream. And now this is the first time you're fucking. So Biden's how old is he? 80?
He's like 80, I think.
So he's 80.
Yeah.
And you're how old?
I'm 20.
So he's 60 years.
That's right.
Older than you. But okay, so a lot of people in the Trump world, he's older too.
Yeah.
Are you guys paid DNC shills?
No, that's just like a conspiracy that's been crafted on Twitter specifically in the recent days. That we've received money from the DNC. We've never received money from the DNC. If the DNC was paying people, we should be first in line with how much we promote Biden.
Yeah.
Because you put out all of these videos all the time. You should get money.
Yeah.
I mean, go get money. If you're not getting money, go get money.
And we've received $0 from the DNC for it. And like, I don't know, it's just been a crazy couple of days, as you've seen. There's been like 70 million views on this story. And for us, it's just a little frustrating because, like real issues going on. There's actual things affecting real Americans. And we're trying to like talk about that stuff. We're not trying to talk about the DNC paying people, which is not even real.
Yeah. When did you
So now that he said that, it's not even real. Now, he's not lying because the DNC does not pay them directly. I don't think the DNC would pay any content creator directly because that's not how things work. But here, let me just play one more clip for you of these guys so you understand exactly what it is they do. Here's one.
Away from women, do nothing about kids being shot in schools, and if they think they can give the middle finger to our generation and get away with it, they're sorely mistaken. What the Republican Party doesn't understand about Gen Z is we don't like you.
You claim you want to appeal to Gen Z, but you call us stupid, you say we're dumb, you say we're indoctrinated. I promise it's a losing strategy.
And Gen Z is watching the Republican Party extremely closely as they destroy our environment, take rights away from women, do nothing about kids being shot in schools, and if they think they can give the middle finger to our generation and get away with it, they're sorely mistaken. What the Republican
So this is what Tim Dillon meant by like they're trying to be like pretty and they're trying to be political at the same time. This whole thing. Now going back to what I was saying before, they are not lying. They don't get paid by the DNC. That wouldn't make any sense. Now, this video that I just showed you, this video got taken down by them because the community notes, which is something that activates on Twitter every time something false is put up, actually showed this. It said Sisson and Mowry are paid political operatives managed by Palette Management NYC. Palette Management receives funding from the DNC. Now, that's how it actually works. And if we go a step further, somebody actually found this. Now, you don't have to dig too hard. If you go to their TikToks, you will find on their TikToks, it says if you want to contact one of them, you go to Palette Management. If you want to contact the other one, you go to Palette Management. So they are content creators for Palette Management. And now what Palette Management specializes in is political content. For who? Now let's go here because I got a bit of a receipt here. Sorry, I'm moving the screen around so crazy. But I just want to get really close on this. So I'll pick one of these receipts because Twitter goes hard when they find things. Now, if you look here, you see Palette Media Inc. That is the recipient's name. New York City, just like the community note said, $200,000. That was October 19th, 2022, which is around the time that they started making videos. Maybe a little, give or take. Filing date is blank. Description, paid media, as you can see there. Paid media, purpose category, advertising, right? And then you go here, committee information, DNC Services Corp, Democratic National Committee. So that's one receipt, and then there's another one that's for $10,000. That is August 2022. Online advertising, purpose category other, same thing, same committee information. And then when you actually go to Harry Sisson and you look him up, you go to his experience, it is content creator, Palette Management, and that's obvious. Oh, and it goes from 2022 to present for 7 months, which is how long he's been putting out content. And again, Palette Management and Palette Management. So these guys don't receive money from the DNC. They receive it from Palette Management, and Palette Management is who receives money from the DNC. So these guys are actually paid to do what they're doing, because I've never seen anybody so passionate about the things that they talk about. And then when you see them on Tim Dillon's show, they're quite the opposite. They're just soft-spoken, chilling. Because, you know, if you interview Joaquin Phoenix, he's going to be one way. And then when you see him on set of The Joker, he's going to be another way because he's acting. That's how that works, you know? So very interesting. Very, very interesting. Tim didn't actually do any research to find that out. He just knew that people were saying that. But Twitter has gone a lot deeper on this topic, and they have found out quite a bit. So that's what I have to say there. Very, very interesting. Now, again, I will put out a little disclaimer. This could be doctored. This could be this. This could be that. It could be a bunch of things. 100% could. This is all. We'll just put this all under allegedly. But all signs seem to be pointing towards, especially the fact that they put up a video. The community notes said, if you go to this, you can see that they are paid by this company, which is paid by the DNC. And then they deleted that video, put the video back up, and made sure to make it so no one who isn't following, or they aren't following, can comment or do anything. Like, they've completely locked down their social media, so you can't be the person just commenting randomly, because they know what they're doing. And it's pretty obvious. If you go and watch these guys' videos, it's the cringiest, wildest thing. They're just screaming about how great and how smart. And hey, listen, everybody has their political leanings. Everybody has their guy that they like. So, you know, possible. But the way they do it just feels like, it's almost like, I don't even know. Like, I just want to say acting. I want to say Truman Show like it's just weird. It's just very weird. But I just wanted to point that out, because when Tim Dillon brought those two guys up, when he brought up that he interviewed those guys, I was like, whoa, because I've known about these guys for a while, since October, basically. And yeah. I wish he had dug a little deeper into that rabbit hole of them getting paid, because the guy's not lying. The guy, Harry, who was talking, he's not lying. He does not get paid by the DNC. He gets paid by his management company. I don't know. He's kind of up for hire. Straight up, you know? I wish I had a company like that. I don't get paid for anything like this. I don't know. Very interesting. But other than that, guys, like, subscribe, share. Please share. Sharing helps so much. You have no idea. Share the content. And other than that, I'm out.